Hey folks, Dr. Gerstmar from Aspire Natural Health. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever you happen to be watching or listening to this, I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, one of the little things that I like to do is play Sudoku. Sudoku. Now, unless you've been living under a rock, I'm sure you've heard of Sudoku as well. It's a game that came from Japan, and it's all about squares and numbers. So there's a big square. Within it, there are little squares. There's 9 little squares within the big square. And then there are the rows that go horizontally side to side, vertically up and down. And within all of those rows, you're trying to get the numbers 1 through 9 such that each row, up, down, each little box, all of them have the numbers 1 through 9 and they're not overlapping. It's a fun little game for those of us who aren't that interested in crossword puzzles. It's another way to look at patterns and to challenge your mind, and it's a fun little game that I play often instead of reading the news or browsing even more social media or just wasting time. It's a way to engage my brain. I enjoy the game and have fun with it. Well, today, as I was playing Sudoku, it dawned on me that there are a couple of pieces from Sudoku that we can take, a couple of lessons that playing Sudoku teaches us that we can take and apply to our health as well. So there are 3 lessons that I've learned from playing Sudoku that I wanted to share with you on your health journey, dealing with digestive issues and autoimmunity with the goal of going from sick to healthy to thriving. Are you ready for them? Okay, the first goal is being random versus methodical. Random versus methodical. You know, you get the board in front of you, whether you're playing it on your phone or a tablet, or whether you've actually got a paper book of Sudoku puzzles. But you crack the thing open and you take a look at it, and it comes pre-filled with some numbers as a starting place, and then you're trying to work through and figure out the other numbers. And there's really 2 ways to approach it. Kind of the random method, which is just to sort of look around, pick an area, and just sort of get to work. Like, can I figure out any of the numbers that belong in that area? Yes, no, then just kind of jumping around the board, looking for places where you can make a difference. And that is one style, one approach. And actually, when I started playing Sudoku, that's the way that I did it. What about here? Or maybe over here, maybe over here, just jumping around the board. And it can work, but it's a lot of work. And your attention is scattered all over the place versus the style that I've adopted as I've become a little bit better at the game, which is a methodical approach, which is, pick an area to begin with. You pick an area that looks like it's a good starting place, and then you methodically make your way around the board, working through the different pieces. Now, it's a little bit slower in the beginning. Often you don't get that hit of instant gratification because sometimes when you get into an area and you find one, you're like, yay! You don't get that. But what you do by methodically working your way around the board, you ultimately save yourself time, you save yourself energy and frustration, and you end up solving the puzzle much quicker. It's slower to start sometimes, but the end result is a more thorough and a quicker way to solve the puzzle. This is often the same thing that we see with health. When we're not feeling well, when we have digestive issues or autoimmunity, it's normal and it's natural to just kind of cast about, and someone said this, and what about this, and ooh, this looks interesting. And just sort of cast about looking for answers, turning over pieces and trying some different stuff, and maybe it works or maybe it doesn't, versus taking a methodical approach, which can be slower, less instantly gratifying, more boring, but ultimately more successful and ultimately quicker. Because instead of scattering our energies, our money, our time, our energy all over the place, we end up focusing, starting, and then working a path through it. So random versus methodical. Random versus methodical. The second piece to take away, the second lesson, is just simply that the puzzle may be difficult, but it is solvable. It may be difficult, but it is solvable. Just like sometimes when we look at a Sudoku puzzle or board and it's just like, oh my gosh, how in the world am I possibly going to solve this thing? That's how a lot of people are feeling with their health, with digestive issues and autoimmunity. Oh my gosh, there's so much going on. It's so confusing. It's frustrating. It's overwhelming. I'm feeling helpless or hopeless. Am I ever going to be able to move from sick to healthy to thriving? And the answer is yes. May not be easy. Sometimes looking at the Sudoku board, you're like, oh my gosh. But again, that same kind of methodical approach, work the pieces, work each line and square, and ultimately, you'll end up solving the puzzle. It's the same thing. For some of us, our health issues are pretty easy and straightforward. And pretty quickly, we feel better. We move from sick to healthy to thriving, and things work nicely for us. For others of us, unfortunately, the puzzle is complicated. It's really hard to work it out. It takes a lot of patience, time, energy. But at the end of the day, you are not helpless and you are not hopeless. The puzzle is solvable. And as long as we don't give up and we work the process, we can help ourselves, we can help each other, we can help you to feel better. It is solvable. Okay, the third lesson that we want to take away is sometimes we have to go over there to solve over here. Sometimes we have to go over there to solve over here. So for example, we can be within a square of Sudoku and really trying to figure out like which number goes where, and it's really not coming together clearly. We can move to another section of the board entirely, like way away from that section, solve it there, and that actually unlocks the square far away. So sometimes when we're dealing with digestive issues, as an example, or autoimmunity, we're not working on the digestion in digestive issues, or we're not working directly with the immune system in autoimmunity. And sometimes people are like, I don't get it. Like, why am I working in this other area when my problem is over here? And this is an area that many regular doctors are really bad about connecting the pieces. Like, it makes sense if you have a digestive issue to treat your digestive system. And yes, that's important, but sometimes the answer to fixing the digestive system, to improving our health, is not in the digestive system. It's in another area. Sometimes it's far away, and sometimes the connection isn't really apparent. This is why we talk about with the Aspire method, the 11 root causes of what's going on, why we need to treat each and every one of them if we're going to have long-term and sustained success. Because sometimes the answer to digestive issues lies in our mental emotional patterns. Sometimes autoimmunity is all about getting our structure properly aligned and working correctly. Sometimes the answer to one piece is not within that piece, but it's in another piece that seems to be far away from the other piece. So that's why a holistic approach, not just looking at bits and pieces, but looking at the entire person, is going to be the key to long-term and sustainable results with digestive issues and autoimmunity. And it's going to be the trick to helping people to go from sick to healthy to thriving. All right, folks, so 3 lessons that Sudoku has taught me. We can approach things randomly, just trying bits and pieces, and that can work, but often it's a recipe for frustration for people. It often means that we spend more time, more energy, and more money in dealing with our health issues. Instead, we want to take a methodical approach. It doesn't always give us that big dopamine hit, instant gratification, and it often can be slower in the beginning as we're ramping up the process, but ultimately it's more effective, and it is ultimately shorter because we don't waste a lot of time and energy spinning our wheels and not moving forward. The second is simply that it is solvable. Sometimes when we step back and we look at what we have going on, it feels completely overwhelming. We feel helpless and hopeless. That's natural. It's okay to feel that way. But also we want a belief that it is solvable. It is solvable. You are not helpless and hopeless. It may be hard. It may take time. It may be dead ends where we try things and they don't work and we have to readjust and try a different approach, but ultimately it is solvable. The third piece is recognizing that sometimes the answer to what's going on is not in the area where we're feeling the pain or we're feeling the symptom. Sometimes what's needed to unlock those issues and make forward progress is in a completely different area, which is why having a holistic approach is so very important. All right, folks, that is it for me today. Listen, if these insights resonated with you, you'd like to get some help from someone who can take these and help you to go from sick to healthy to thriving with digestive issues or autoimmunity, then let's have a chat. Let's see if we are the right fit to work together. If we are, we'll talk about next steps and we'll help to transform your life. If we're not, that is okay. Listen, we are not the right fit for everyone. The style and the approach approach that we use really resonates with some people and it's absolutely not right for others. If this sounds like something that's interesting for you, you would like to do, then I invite you, please come to the website, aspirenaturalhealth.com. That's aspirenaturalhealth.com. There are two buttons to click. The first is Ask About Price and Availability. That tells you more about how we work, whether we have any openings right now or we're on a wait list, and what the investment looks like to work with us. If that all sounds good or you know you're ready to move forward, then I invite you to click on the second button that says Apply for Help. All right, folks, that is it for me today. Until next time, take care.